Today we have gathered here together to embark on a transformative journey in the realm of information technology and real estate. We are privileged to have our dignitaries amongst us. But before we proceed, let's take a moment to familiarize ourselves with Intellion. It is an integral part of Tata Realty and Infrastructure Limited, dedicated to revolutionizing office spaces. Intellion is not merely a workspace provider, it is a commitment to holistic growth and development. It is driven by passion for creating value for all the stakeholders. Intellion's approach is rooted in the belief that a workspace should be more than just functional. It should be an experience, an environment that stimulates creativity, fosters collaboration, and supports well being. Intellion stands tall in its unwavering commitment to sustainable development. Their workspace serves as tangible embodiment of their sustainable practices, reflecting purposeful growth and resolute dedication to creating inspiring and safe environments. Intellion is an art, the forefront of blending integral design, cutting edge infrastructure to offer workspaces that adapt and evolve with needs of businesses. Their eco friendly work environments provide a lush backdrop for productivity, ensuring a healthy and engaging setting for the enterprises, employees, partners, associates, and the community at large. In essence, Intellion isn't just about office spaces. It's about creating businesses, it's about creating thriving ecosystems that propel businesses forward. Through sustainable practices, intelligent designs, and a focus on well being, Intellion is poised to redefine how we perceive and experience workspaces. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to thank each one of you for being a part of this most important day. As our Hindu Sanskriti, we should always begin the important occasion, the important event with lamp lighting ceremony. आज के इस event की शुरुआत भी हम दीप प्रज्वलन से करेंगे. I will request our delegates to please come forward for the lamp lighting ceremony, beginning with I will request Mr. Sanjay Dutt, CEO and Managing Director of Tata Realty and Tata Housing, along with Mr. Harshvardhan Gadbiye, ex-IS Senior Vice President, Tata Realty, Mr. P.G. Rathod, MIDC Technical Advisor, and Mr. Ashish Singh, Partner, ICTIS. On this beautiful occasion, ladies and gentlemen, I remember a beautiful shloka. Deepena lokana jayati, deepastejo mayaha smritaha, chaturvarga prado deepam, tasmat deepam yajet priyet. दीप जो होता है, दिया जो होता है, वो धर्म अर्थ काम मोक्ष का दाता होता है. दिए की ज्योत हमेशा ऊपर की ओर उठती है. यह दिए का अग्नि का स्वभाव है. हमारे द्वारा शुरू किया हुआ जो कार्य है वो हमेशा ऊपर की ओर बढ़ता रहे. इस भाव से, इस आशा से हम दीप प्रज्वलन करते हैं. Ladies and gentlemen, to initiate this auspicious gathering, I'm honored to invite Mr. Sanjay Dutt, CEO and Managing Director of Tata Realty. He's a trailblazer in the real estate sector. I will request him to join us on stage to address the gathering and present the welcome note.
Very good afternoon. We're truly blessed and honored to have with us some very accomplished developers, professionals in the audience, some of them very dear friends, uh, so close to me that I almost feel that they are relatives to me now. Uh, Maharashtra is a very important state. Uh, it's a home to Tata Realty and Infrastructure Limited and Tata Housing. We've invested heavily in the state at a group level and even at the real estate level. So it was only apt that when we saw a path-breaking IT policy introduced in Maharashtra, that we use this opportunity to discuss and share the insights about it. And the reason I say it's revolutionary because never before I've seen so much of encouragement by the government to develop and create employment and also develop real estate. In last 6 years alone, every opportunity was given to us as industry, whether it is in terms of reforming the policy. I remember 6 years ago, I was discussing reforms in the data center policy. And in the last 2 years, Mumbai has been flooded with data centers. And I know Maharashtra is going to take a lead in that space as well. We've seen somewhat not so proactive IT policy or the companies as we have seen in Bangalore and Hyderabad and even Pune and NCR market. And therefore it made sense to demonstrate to the corporate world and to the stakeholders, especially the international property consulting firms who do literally 90% of the leasing in the country. So you are great influencers, and we want to make sure that you are aware about this policy. So I'm using this opportunity as well. Extremely grateful to RICS for giving us this platform to host the event. Very, very grateful for APRIA, who's also supporting our initiative in the region. And also to throw light on the IT policy, I have a senior team from CBRE who's done insights into it, and they will very shortly share with you. So we have Abhinav amongst us who will throw light on this. Before we get going, I do want to take the initiative to recognize because of which this event was possible. And I would like to give the entire credit to our Honorable Minister, Government of Maharashtra, Mr. Uday Samant. He's been the reason why we have actually come here. We also have Mr. Dipendra Kushwaha. He's an IS and also Development Commissioner. Mr. Anil Bhandari, Joint CEO MIDC. Mr. Maliknar, who's Joint CEO IT. Mr. Harshvardhan Gajbe, very senior official. He's been a torchbearer and guidance to Tata Realty for decades and to the government in Maharashtra. Mr. Ashwini Avasthi, thank you so much, from RICS. He's the managing director. And all the other panelists, which include legends of the industry, Mr. Niranjan Hirandani, one of the finest real estate developers in Bombay. And I have same respect for Atul Charodia, who's sitting amongst us, one of the finest real estate developers in Pune and very soon in many other aspects of real estate business. I was just sharing with him, including hospitality. So thank you for coming. We also have amongst us Mr. Vinod Rohira and Ashish Singh, who's not only a friend, also a partner and also an industry expert. So we are privileged to have all of them together with us. So I'm going to not spend too much time talking about the context. What will it take to really make Maharashtra reach 10 million square feet absorption in a year? Because that's what we're competing right now with Bangalore. And clearly speaking, it's to do with one reason, which is perception. I think Mumbai, by many companies, is viewed as expensive. I know with my data points, Thane Belapur Road is less than 1400 rupees per square feet FSI. And I know Outer Ring Road and Golf Extension Road in Gurgaon and even many parts of Pune may actually be even more expensive than Thane Belapur Road. So then what's keeping Bombay at bay? Uh, is it the construction quality? Not at all. There are most reputed developers in the country who are based in Bombay and they can give you quality infrastructure. The fiber connectivity, we all know Bombay has the landing point and that's why the IT infrastructure is grade A. Power, one of the few states which has private power, so definitely not only abundant power but quality power. Law and order, outstanding in the state. So what will it take to ensure that we bring more to this state? So to throw some light and also to throw some light on the policy and the deliberations subsequently, I now invite Abhinav to join and share with us. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. Moving ahead, ladies and gentlemen, next I would like to invite on the stage Mr. Abhinav Joshi, Head of Research India, Middle East and North Africa, CBRE. Can we have a huge round of applause for him?
Hello, I hope I'm audible. Yes, thank you so much. There was a little bit of a change in the schedule, and I was expecting that a lot of people would have spoken about the policy already, and I'll come at the end, but nonetheless, thank you so much for this incredible opportunity. I am Abhinav Joshi. I head research operations for CBRE in India and in Middle East and Africa as well. And I've been working with my team for the past couple of days, just trying to understand what this new policy that has been introduced by the government of Maharashtra and the buzz around it. While the policy speaks a lot about upskilling, it talks a lot about startups, entrepreneurs, talks a lot about IT infrastructure. My focus would largely be on the real estate part because I think that's what's critical. And this presentation is more from a development side rather than from a demand side ecosystem as to how much we have done in the last 25 years under this policy umbrella. Since the first policy came up in 1998, where are we right now as far as the new policy is concerned and what is expected over the next 5 years? So thank you so much again for this incredible opportunity. And I'm not going to get into all the details over here, but Maharashtra has truly been a pioneer when it comes to introducing IT/ITES policies. It was one of the first states to come up with a dedicated policy to propel this IT ecosystem, alongside, of course, Karnataka and a couple of other states. 1998 is when the entire story started. The first phase was from 98 to 2003, but the real stage, which was, you can say some sort of a catalyst in propelling growth for IT in the state was from 2009 till 2015. So besides incentivizing units, besides promoting IT infrastructure, besides providing development incentives, there's been a lot of focus at, if I want to say, decentralization as well. So moving beyond just the peripheries of Mumbai and Pune and ensuring that some of the tier 2 cities in the state also get the growth opportunities. And finally, we reach 25 years later in the 2023 version, which besides providing more incentives to units, operators, developers, also talks a lot about data centers. But the biggest feature for the 2023 policy is the fact that it has dedicated at least 2 pages on data centers. Bombay being the biggest hub for data center development in the country, there was obviously a lack of a dedicated DC policy, unlike some of the other states. But the incentives that have been provided are extremely encouraging. Before we talk about the policy and the key attributes, I think it's important that we take a step back and we look at the last 25 years and the way we've seen commercial real estate, specifically IT real estate, grow in the country. Mumbai and Pune, of course, are, I would say, close to 98 or 99% of the entire commercial real estate stock of Maharashtra, as of now at least. And between these two cities, we've seen a spectacular growth in the last 25 years. So what you see in front of you is essentially the way IT stock has mushroomed in these two cities. On the left-hand side, you have Mumbai, from 1998 to 2003. It's primarily central and south Mumbai that see that growth. That's largely led by non-IT developments. From 2003 till 2008, because of geographical constraints, development moves further up north. So you have Powai, Jogeshwari, Goregaon, Andheri. They start seeing a lot of IT supply coming into the market. From 2009, which was the third policy that came up, till 2014, that's when post the global financial crisis, there was a lot of appetite for cost-effective real estate space. That's when Navi Mumbai really came in, and we saw a lot of supply being pushed in Navi Mumbai, Thane, etc. So the entire base started getting diversified, and then finally we reached where we are in the last phase, and the last policy existed from 2015 till 2023. If you look at the way the stock of Mumbai has grown, from around 16 million square feet, it has touched about 143 or 145 million square feet. But the IT stock has grown from 5 million square feet or lesser than that to about 60, 62 million square feet. So that's almost 12 times in the last 25 years. And of course, that would not have been possible if there was no umbrella or encouragement or a platform provided by the government of Maharashtra. But the real growth has been in Pune. Pune is the tech hub, if I can say, of the state. And that's where we've seen real steep growth. Between the early 2000s, when the stock was less than 1 million square feet, we've seen the stock touch almost 35 to 40 million square feet now. So that's more than 30x in the last 25 years. And this does not include SEZ space, because SEZs have been a completely different story altogether, although now we are obviously seeing a lot of denotification and that demand coming towards tech parks, because obviously there is an overlap as far as end occupiers are concerned. But between the two cities, we've seen spectacular growth. It's either comparable or maybe it trailed behind a little bit, when we talk about a Bangalore or a Hyderabad. But I think the policy umbrella has done well so far. These days, no discussion is complete unless you talk about tier 2 cities. Wherever we go, in every state, they want to focus on which are these upcoming frontiers of growth. In Maharashtra, you have about 10, 15 cities which matter. From an IT real estate perspective, it's primarily Nagpur, Nasik, maybe to a certain extent Aurangabad. These are the cities which have the tech talent. The overall talent base is growing. They have a percolation of startups, flex space operators. They have some larger tech occupiers, and more importantly, educational institutions which support the growth of tech ecosystem in these cities. But what's also interesting is, if you look at the graph on the left-hand side, it clearly shows that compared to an Ahmedabad or a Coimbatore or a Lucknow or a Jaipur, we need more encouragement in this state, as some of these leading tier 2 cities in Maharashtra are still lagging behind. And that's where I think this new policy really fits in, as it talks about developing these markets. It talks about greater FSI incentives, greater development incentives, and also propelling some of these IT units to expand in some of these smaller markets. And in line with real estate growth, of course, the overall profile of Maharashtra as an IT export destination has also grown. Just in the last 8 years, our software exports have grown by almost 2x. And the overall occupied IT stock has grown by somewhere around 1.6 to 1.7x. So we're talking about more than 100 million square feet of space in the two cities put together that have been occupied by ITS occupiers. There are some pretty big tech giants. They've been mentioned on the slide. And of course, they're attracted by the cosmopolitan living, the access to talent base that comes in from across the country, the forever improving infrastructure, the political support, and the ease of doing business. Now, that was the story for the last 25 years. And here we are in 2023, where we have a new IT policy. And these are the 8 principal growth or focus areas of the policy. I would not be getting into each and every bit, but what our view from a CBRE perspective is that the biggest differentiator of this policy, what can really position Maharashtra as a pioneer, is the introduction of Mahiti, which is the unified single window clearance mechanism or a platform. While this has been set up for the larger IT ecosystem, it's also relevant for the data center industry. And that's where we've received direct feedback that it would be a big relief, because it takes a minimum of 2 years and more to, from the point of view of capital commitment, to actually breaking ground in the data center business. And that's where operators and investors have been struggling. So if there is a unified interface which provides approvals, registration, which also talks about tracking performance and how the state has been doing as far as incentives are concerned, I think Mahiti is a step in the right direction. From a development perspective, what does all of this mean for real estate? These are just, to make sure that you guys are aware, these are just some of the development incentives that have been offered by the IT policy. And we've done a brief comparison with, where we were in 2015. So how it has evolved in the last 8 years. If you look at the FSI norms, they've clearly been relaxed. So earlier, the FSI was somewhere in the range of 2 to 3. Now that's been brought to 3 to 5. And then there is additional fungible FSI that you can avail. And of course, there is a premium to pay as well. What's really interesting is that for IT townships, the earlier the minimum land availability was 25 acres. That has been brought down to 10 acres. So what that does is it encourages more developers and investors to enter the market and launch projects and participate in this development. So we can hopefully see more tech hubs coming up. The most interesting development in this entire development incentive story is the fact that from a land use zoning perspective, they've relaxed the allocation for support infrastructure. So I believe in Mumbai, presently it's 80-20. So in case you're developing an IT unit, 80% has to be for IT occupiers and about 20% maximum can be for non-IT. That's been increased to about anywhere from 40% to 50%. And in IT townships, that 50% can include residential developments as well as non-IT and other infrastructure. So it sort of, again, encourages developers, incentivizes them to participate. Moving on to data centers, because this is where the real growth story is as far as Maharashtra is concerned. And I was really thinking if I should crack this joke or not, but from an IT perspective, Mumbai is in the data center universe what Bangalore is in the IT universe. And while we aspire to be number one in both the IT ecosystem as well as in the DC ecosystem, it's important to understand the dominance that Mumbai has as far as DC construction is concerned. On the left-hand side, you can clearly see the share of Mumbai versus some of the other cities in the country when it comes to the overall developed DC stock. So in the first half of 2023, we're talking about a share that's more than 50%. And there is more than $40 billion of capital that has already been committed. A little bit of that has been deployed, but a large part of that is yet to be deployed in the next couple of years. And Mumbai is at the core of it. So a policy that provides incentives around data centers was a necessity. And this is just a brief comparison. This is just specific for data centers between 2023 and 2015, how the policy has evolved. So right from providing power support to recognizing them as an essential infrastructure, and infrastructure status broadly means you can avail lending, cheaper lending for a longer tenure. The policy definitely details out the incentives, and I think from a development perspective, several investors, institutional investors, and global operators will now be looking at Mumbai from a completely different perspective. And this is specifically when we talk about ID parks and ID townships. So yes, a number of incentives were already there in the previous policies. There is more clarification, some relaxation that has been provided. But I think the biggest differentiator between the 2015 policy and the 23 policy, as I stated earlier, is the Mahiti portal, that unified online approval system that the government of Maharashtra is propagating, because that would streamline your approval process and will attract more IT units into the state. So after looking back 25 years, talking about what the policy is, let's just focus on the next 5 years up to 7 years. What sort of a growth is lined up if we consider the period 2023 till 2028? So on the left-hand side, you can see how the commercial real estate stock in Mumbai and Pune is expected to grow in the next 5 years. Mumbai is expected to add another 40 million square feet. Now that's everything that has been launched. It's either under construction or planned, and of course we've taken certain assumptions for the horizon year. And Pune will see more than 40 million square feet. So a total of 80 million square feet. Now this is before the 2023 policy. Okay. Once the 2023 incentives kick in, of course, more and more developers would be encouraged to participate, launch more projects, build more, and really launch large-scale quality projects which can attract that flight to quality demand that we're seeing in the industry right now. Because 80 million square feet is overall office. IT is just about 35 million square feet. You know, that's almost equivalent to Bangalore or Hyderabad. So the entire state of Maharashtra, as of now, is punching at the same level as what the entire city of Bangalore would be doing. That's where the IT policy, I would suggest, really fits in. And if you look at the way the real estate ecosystem is expected to grow, residential is expected to expand. We're going to see greater growth in retail because of rising consumption, and that will also feed into warehousing. So the entire ecosystem looks to be quite ripe for more steeper growth in the IT world. Thank you. And this is my last slide. There are essentially 4 or 5 ways in which an Indian city can be positioned as a tech hub. You know, there are several other ways, but in India, there are essentially 5 ways. One is you need to have the skilled talent base. Maharashtra attracts talent from across the country, and the policy talks a lot about upskilling, emerging technologies, new jobs. So that's one box ticked. Second is on real estate supply, development, incentivizing more real estate infrastructure. So by providing more FSI, reducing the minimum land requirement, that's another box ticked. The third one is streamlining the approval process, so ease of doing business. And through Mahiti and the online platform that the government is envisaging, that's the third box ticked. Fourth one is, of course, incentivizing units. So everything from stamp duty exemptions to electricity duty exemptions to support on power, back-end infrastructure, everything has been provided. So that's the fourth box ticked. And fifth one, of course, is encouraging entrepreneurs, encouraging the entire startup ecosystem. And the policy talks a lot about setting up an M hub or the Maharashtra hub with about 500 crores of allocation to fund fledgling startups, to set up incubators that will further promote this growth across the state. So, you know, with this, I would like to end, but we are pretty confident that in the coming 5 to 7 years, we're going to expect far steeper growth in the IT ecosystem in Maharashtra than what we've seen in the past couple of years. Thank you.